Once upon a time, in a small, bright village, there was a little baby girl named Ajwa. Ajwa was not just any baby, she was very special. Her mother, Afia, carried her in her belly for 13 whole months, much longer than most mothers carry their babies. Everyone in the village was talking about it, saying, "Wow, that's really long." It was a dark and stormy night when Ajwa decided it was time to say hello to the world. Afia was at home and the rain was pouring down like it was washing the whole world. The thunder was loud and the lightning lit up the sky. But inside, Afia was not alone. She had Kobina, a kind midwife to help her. When Ajwa was born, she was different. She had both male and female private parts, which is not very common. In fact, it was considered an abomination. Afia and her husband were scared because they didn't know what this would mean for Ajwa. They loved her so much and wanted her to be happy and safe. So Afia and her husband whispered to Kobina, "Please, keep this as a secret. We'll give you a piece of land if you promise not to tell anyone." They didn't want to lose her because she was their only child and they had stayed many years in marriage without a child. Kobina looked at little Ajwa, all tiny and perfect, and nodded. "I promise," she said. Ajwa's secret was safe with her. And so, Ajwa's life began with a little mystery wrapped around her like a blanket. Everyone in the village waited to see what this special baby, who took so long to come into the world, would grow up to be like. They all hoped she would be happy and were excited to watch her grow. In the small, bright village, little Ajwa started to grow up. Everyone noticed how quiet and shy she was. She liked to play near her home and didn't go to the village stream like the other children. When it was time to bath, Ajwa would always use their private washroom in their compound. Ajwa was also very private about other things, like when she needed to pee, she wouldn't go if there were other people around. Instead, she would always have to do it in private and like other small girls her age. The other kids thought Ajwa was just being super shy. They whispered, "Ajwa likes to be alone," but they didn't know why. Ajwa had a big secret about how she was born a bit different from other kids. Her mother and father had asked Kobina, the kind midwife, to keep it a secret, and Ajwa knew she had to keep it a secret too. It was her own special secret, and she was very careful to make sure nobody found out. She was a smart and thoughtful girl, always finding ways to play safely and avoid games that may expose her. Her parents watched her and worried sometimes, but they also felt proud of how well Ajwa was managing everything. They just wanted her to be happy and safe. So Ajwa became the little secret keeper of the village with her quiet ways and gentle smiles, holding a special story close to her heart. As the seasons changed and Ajwa grew taller, everyone in the village began to love her more and more. Even though Ajwa was shy and liked her space, she was very kind. Whenever someone needed help, Ajwa was there. If a little bird fell from its nest, Ajwa would gently put it back. If an old lady needed help carrying her bucket of water, Ajwa would quietly come along and carry it for her. Ajwa was also very pretty. Her smile was like sunshine after the rain, and her eyes sparkled like the stars at night. When she walked through the village wearing her colorful dresses that swayed with a breeze, people would stop and smile, saying, "Look at lovely Ajwa, isn't she beautiful?" And even though she was shy, she always had a smile for everyone. Children in the village looked up to her. They thought Ajwa was just the best. "She's so nice," they would whisper as they watched her play by herself or help the younger ones with their games. The grown-ups respected her too. "She's going to be someone very special," they would say. Everyone felt a warm spot in their hearts for Ajoa. Ajoa felt happy to be loved, but sometimes she also felt a little sad because of her secret. She wished she could play in the stream with the other kids or join in the game without worrying, but she knew she had to be careful. So she found other ways to be part of the village, always gentle and always kind. Her parents watched her growing up. She loved and admired by everyone and felt proud and relieved. They knew Ajoa was special, not just because of how she was born, but because of the big heart she carried inside her. Ajoa truly was the beloved of the village, growing up under the watchful and loving eyes of all who knew her. One bright sunny day, something amazing happened in the village. The most handsome man around, with his bright smile and strong arms, asked Ajoa to marry him. Everyone liked Kofi because he was so kind. When Ajoa said yes, everyone in the village was super excited except her parents. They were worried about Ajoa's condition and how Kofi would take it. But after seeing the excitement on Ajoa's face, they gave a go-ahead. They thought since Kofi was kind, wise, and loved Ajoa very much, he would understand and accept Ajoa for who she was. The engagement party was the biggest celebration the village had ever seen. There were colorful flowers everywhere, and the drums and dancing lasted all day and night. Ajoa wore a sparkling dress, looking as lovely as the moonlight on the river, and Kofi looked so proud standing next to her. All the villagers joined in to celebrate, enjoying tasty food and laughing a lot, saying, Ajoa and Kofi look perfect together. Ajoa felt so much love from everyone, but inside she was really nervous. She loved Kofi a lot but was scared to tell him the secret about herself, that she was different from other women. Days turned into weeks, and people in the village began to whisper, wondering why Ajoa and Kofi hadn't set a wedding date. Ajoa felt everyone watching her, full of questions. She squeezed Kofi's hand tighter, wishing she could tell him everything. Kofi, who was always so understanding, just smiled and said, I'll wait for you, Ajoa. I love you just the way you are. But Ajoa could tell he was a bit confused and didn't understand what he really meant when she said those words. And this made her even more scared. She really wanted to tell him her secret but was afraid of what might happen. As the moon waxed and waned, Kofi started to feel a bit upset. Every time he brought up the wedding, Ajoa had a new excuse for saying, Not yet, Kofi. Let's wait a little longer. Kofi really loved Ajoa, but he was getting confused and a little sad. He couldn't understand why Ajoa, who was always smiling and holding his hand, kept delaying their wedding. One day, Kofi couldn't keep his worries to himself anymore. He went to see Ajoa's parents, walking slowly because he was so troubled. I love Ajoa so much, he told them, but I don't understand why she keeps delaying our wedding. Is there something I should know? Ajoa's parents exchanged worried looks. They loved both Ajoa and Kofi, but had promised to keep Ajoa's big secret. We understand how you feel, Kofi, they told him kindly. Please be patient with Ajoa. She has her reasons, and maybe she will tell you when she is ready. Kofi nodded, but he left the house feeling even more uneasy. Feeling really mixed up, Kofi went to talk to the village elders next. He hoped they could give him some advice. I'm troubled, he confessed, because Ajoa and I aren't setting a date for our wedding. I respect what she wants, but I also need to understand what's going on. The elders listened seriously and nodded as Kofi spoke. But in a small village like theirs, it didn't take long for whispers to start. Soon everyone was talking. Kofi and Ajua aren't getting married yet, they whispered. Ajua keeps delaying the wedding. The whispers grew louder and spread all over the village. Everyone had something to say or guess about it, but they tried to keep their voices down because they all still cared a lot about Ajua. Ajua felt a change in how people treated her. With each day, she felt more and more worried as she noticed the curious looks and heard the whispers that stopped when she walked by. A secret, which she had kept so carefully, now felt like a huge storm about to break over her. Kofi, seeing Ajua becoming more and more distant, felt really torn. He was frustrated because he wanted to be close to her, but he also didn't want to push her away. The happiness they felt on their engagement day seemed so far away now, hidden behind all the quiet talks and worried glances. One warm afternoon, as Ajua walked through the village, she could feel everyone watching her. The whispers and quiet talking had become too much for her. She needed to share her big secret with someone who would understand. Ajua decided to go and see her friend from childhood, Ama, who was always kind and gentle. When Ajua arrived, Ama gave her a big warm hug and saw right away that something was bothering her. "What's wrong, Ajua?" Ama asked, leading her to a cozy spot under a big tree where they could talk in private. Ajua took a deep breath and to hold back her tears. "I have to tell you something very important," she began, her voice trembling. "I have to tell you something very important, something about me that only my parents and Kopina, the midwife, know." Ama held Ajua's hand tightly. "You can tell me anything," she said softly. Ajua looked into Ama's eyes and felt a bit of her fear slip away. "When I was born," she said slowly, "I was born different. I have both male and female parts." Ama gasped, but her grip on Ajua's hand didn't loosen. "Oh, Ajua," she whispered, her eyes wide with surprise and compassion. "That must be so hard for you to carry alone." Ajua nodded, tears streaming down her face now. "It is, Ama. I'm so scared of what everyone will think if they find out. I'm even more scared that Kofi will leave me when he knows." Ama put Ajua into a hug, holding her tightly. "You are so brave, Ajua," she said. "Thank you for trusting me with your secret. I will always be here for you, no matter what happens." Feeling a bit lighter after sharing her secret, Ajua and Ama sat together for a while, talking about everything and nothing. Ama's kind words and understanding gave Ajua a bit of hope. She felt that maybe, just maybe, she could face whatever came next. However, as the day and evening, the secret Ajua had shared started to spread. Ama, feeling overwhelmed by what she'd learned, ended up telling her family. She asked them to keep it a secret, but it was too intriguing not to share. Little by little, the secret moved through the village like the wind through leaves. Everyone added their own guesses and thoughts, and soon the whole village was buzzing with the news. "Have you heard about Ajua?" they whispered. "By the wall and in the market. She is different. She has both parts." The rumors flew around the village, reaching every corner. Some people felt sorry for Ajua, others were amazed, and a few looked down on her. Ajua could feel how people's attitudes towards her had changed. They no longer looked at her the same way, their eyes were full of questions. Now Kofi heard the rumors too, and he felt a mix of anger and sadness. He loved Ajua no matter what, but he felt upset that she hadn't trusted him with her secret. Ajua's life changed overnight because of the rumors. The girl once loved by everyone in the village was now at the center of gossip and speculation. Instead of the usual smiles and friendly hellos, people looked away and whispered as she passed. Ajowa's big secret was out and it changed how everyone saw her. Respect and admiration turned into something much colder. Kofi was really upset too. He felt betrayed because Ajowa hadn't told him a very important truth about herself. He loved her so much but was also angry and confused. All the talk around the village made things even more harder. One evening, Kofi with a heavy heart told Ajowa, "I think we should keep apart for a little while, just until things calm down and become clear in my mind." Ajowa was heartbroken by Kofi's words. Ajowa could not stand the embarrassment in the village, and so she left the village for a faraway place to find peace and solace. Surrounded by thick bushes and weeping willow trees, there she tried to find some peace away from all the staring and talking. This little hut became her escape, a place where she could be alone with her thoughts. But even in her quiet hideaway, Ajowa felt the sting of being rejected. The happiness she used to feel was gone, replaced by a deeper, sadder kind of wisdom. She spent her days walking alone in the forest, talking to the bird, and finding a little bit of comfort in the sounds of the winds in the leaves. Yet the loneliness clung to her. Not long after Ajowa left, a strange and terrible disease swept through the village, attacking teenage girls. The disease made them weak and feverish, and no one could find a cure. The village elders, desperate to save their daughters, consulted with a village oracle. With flickering torchlight and the thick smell of incense, the oracle listened to their worries. After a long tense pause, he spoke in a deep voice that filled the room. "The gods are angry," he said. "Our world is out of balance, and only a pure and untouched woman can make things right again and bring back healing in the land." The elders looked at each other, worried. They needed to find someone pure for the sacrifice, but the oracle also hinted that something bad might happen to that person. Desperate, they chose not to tell the villagers this part when they got back. The elders called everyone to a big meeting around the bonfire. The villagers' faces showed fear and worry as they gathered. "Who will take on this huge task? Who will make the sacrifice?" they whispered among themselves. They started the search for a virgin maid who could help. Their surprise, most of the young girls in the village were sick with the disease. After a long search, the elders called a meeting again and declared they had no solution, and the hardship might continue till the gods decided to smile on them again. But as they talked, someone thought of Ajowa, who once was loved by everyone, but now lived alone. "Ajowa is pure and untouched by any man," said one villager, a flicker of hope in his eyes. "Maybe she's the one the gods want." The idea spread quickly. "Yes, Ajowa could save our girl children." The villagers agreed, desperate for any solution. With heavy hearts, the elders went to Ajowa's hut. Their torches made spooky shadows as they walked, and the flickering light announced their serious mission. Ajowa, feeling the weight of their visit, let them in. The elders told her about the village's troubles and what the oracle said. They left out the part about the possible danger for the sacrifice. "Ajowa, you have always been special," they said. "Maybe you are meant to do this. Can you help us? Will you be the one to go?" Ajowa felt torn between her past pain and her love for the village. Looking at the faces she'd known all her life, she felt strong again like she used to. With a surprising calm, Ajowa said, "I will go for the village. For everyone, I will go." The elders felt both relieved that she had agreed and sad for the heavy burden Ajowa accepted. As they walked back the path seemed darker and the shadows stretched longer, reflecting the weight of what was to come. As the first light of dawn painted the village of soft hues, a tense silence filled the air. Today was the day of the sacrifice, a moment woven with both hope and fear. The village elders, along with a few chosen villagers, solemnly approached Ajowa's secluded hut. They brought with them sacred items for the offering: fragrant herbs, precious grain, and a small ornately decorated lamp. Ajowa had spent a restless night in contemplation, grappling with the reality of her task as dawn broke. She emerged in a simple white robe, her face serene and her gaze determined, embodying a quiet strength. The elders bowed their heads in deep respect as they met her. Ajowa, the elders spoke, his voice heavy with emotion. Today, you do what none of us could. You carry our hope to the sacred cliff where the earth meets the sky. Ajowa took the bundle of offering, her voice steady and strong. I'm ready. I do this for our future, for all of us, she declared. With the whole village watching, Ajowa began her solemn march. She walked with purpose through the village, past the parched fields and towards the high cliff known as the place where mortals could speak to the gods. The villagers followed at a distance, a silent procession honoring her bravery. At the cliff, Ajowa carefully arranged the offerings as she had been taught when she raised her arm and began to become an ancient chant, her voice echoing the deep fears and hopes of her people. As she called out, the sky darkened and clouds swirled above, responding to her voice. A strong wind whipped around her, making her white robe flutter wildly against the darkening sky. The villagers below watched in a mix of awe and anxiety. Ajowa's chant intensified, rising above the roar of the wind. Suddenly, the wind stopped and a beam of sunlight pierced through the clouds, bathing her and the offerings in golden light. In an instant, something unseen struck Ajowa, knocking her to the ground. A gasp rose from the crowd, a sound of fear and worry, but before anyone could react, a bright light swept through the cliffs and over the whole village, signaling that the gods had accepted the sacrifice. Cheers erupted back in the village as this was a sign of God's favor. They danced and embraced, relieved and joyful. Meanwhile, Ajowa slowly came back to herself, feeling the bright light over her. She felt differently lighter, and she realized that her male private part, the source of so much hidden pain, was gone. She was finally whole in a way she had always longed to be. Feeling an immense sense of relief and happiness, Ajowa touched her stomach, finding only the soft fabric of her clothes. Tears rolled down her cheeks, not from pain or sadness, but from a deep relief of freedom. She turned to the elders and villagers, smiling brightly. "It's gone," she announced joyfully. "The part of me that brought so much fear and pain, it's gone." The villagers were amazed, and their surprise quickly turned into cheers, marking a fresh start not just for Ajowa, but for everyone. Supported by the elders, Ajowa walked back towards the village, lighter and freer with every step. Those who had stayed behind saw the change in her and the happiness in her eyes. Soon, the whole village was buzzing, and everyone came to see the woman who had given so much and having been transformed by a touch of the divine. "Look at her," they shouted in amazement. "Ajowa has been blessed by the gods." They crowded around her, touching her hands and shoulders as if to make sure she was real and that the miracle had indeed happened. Ajowa addressed everyone, her voice strong despite the recent ordeal. "Gods have accepted our offering," she explained. "Have given us healing and blessed me with a chain that has freed me from my hidden pain. Let's start anew together in unity and acceptance." The villagers' eyes welled up with tears of joy and relief. The celebration that night was unlike any other. More than just a feast, it was a celebration of spirit, and community songs and dances went on into the night as everyone, young and old, celebrated Ajowa's incredible transformation and the rejuvenation of their land. In the midst of the celebration, a young prince on an expedition to find a wife arrived in the village. His name was Kwaku, and he had heard tales of the village's beauty and hospitality. Intrigued by the celebration, he decided to stay and observe. Kwaku had strange blue eyes, a trait that made him worry about being rejected by others. But when he saw Ajoa, he was amazed by her beauty. Their eyes locked, and in that moment, both felt an instant connection. It was love at first sight. Kwaku approached Ajoa, his heart pounding. "Hello," he said, his voice gentle. "I'm Kwaku. May I have the honor of your company?" Ajoa looked into his blue eyes and felt a warmth spread through her heart. "Hello, Kwaku," she replied, smiling. "I would like that very much." As they spent time together, Kwaku and Ajoa find solace in each other's company. Despite their differences, they felt a deep bond that could not be broken. The village, seeing the love between them, was all the happier for Ajoa. They realized that true beauty and strength came from within and that everyone deserved love and acceptance. Kofi, on the other hand, watched from afar, disappointed with himself that he let the most beautiful girl go, who now was in another man's hands. The villagers, grateful for their daughters' lives, welcomed Ajoa and Kwaku love with open hands. Together, they rebuilt the bonds that had been broken and learned to celebrate the differences that made each person unique. Ajoa and Kwaku's love story became a symbol of hope and acceptance, showing that even in the face of fear and rejection, love could conquer all. And so they lived happily ever after, their hearts forever entwined in a village that had learned the true meaning of love and community. Ajoa and Kwaku's story holds a powerful lesson about the importance of acceptance, compassion, and understanding. It teaches us that true love and community come from embracing diversity and not allowing fear or prejudice to divide us. The tale emphasizes that everyone deserves to be loved and accepted for who they are, regardless of their differences. The story reminds us that in our lives we should strive to support and understand one another, appreciating the unique qualities that make each person special. By fostering a spirit of acceptance and empathy, we can create a community that embraces and uplifts every individual regardless of their differences. This is the end of our story. If you've enjoyed our story, please subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss our next interesting stories. Bye for now.